It all started with an outlet I was supposed to fix. Honestly, I hadn't even planned on being in that house, but Dad had said, "Dash, if you're staying for the weekend, you might as well help out with a few tech things." Emily just moved into the renovated room. Emily, my dad's new wife's daughter. Not my sister, not really, but close enough that it made being under the same roof feel a little uneasy. And, if I'm being honest, not only uneasy. "Dash this one," she said, pointing toward the outlet. She stood there in a t-shirt that barely skimmed her thighs, as if by accident. But nothing about the way she moved seemed accidental. It was deliberate, like a scene from a perfume commercial. Every motion felt staged, an unspoken invitation to something more. I crouched down, screwdriver in hand, trying to focus on the wires while her stare pressed against my back. "Dash, I've got to say, I like a man on his knees in my room," she teased, her tone ringing through me like a sudden alarm. I didn't reply. Sometimes silence was safer, especially with electricity in your hands and your brain already running hot. And then, without warning, the entire house went dark. A blackout, the perfect backdrop for trouble. "Dash, damn," I muttered, the only thing I could manage. "Dash. Kind of feels like sparking fireworks, doesn't it?" Emily grinned in the dark, and though I couldn't see her, I could feel the smile in her words. Her voice was a spark, and it lit something between us. That night, the air mattress Dad set up for me began to sag, losing air fast. My one chance at personal space was collapsing under me. "Dash, guess it's either the floor or the couch," she joked. "Dash, wanna flip a coin? Dash, got one on you?" I asked, knowing full well it was just her way of pushing. "Dash, nope," she said with a sly grin. "Dash. But I do have a strong preference for sleeping next to the guy who fixed my outlet and coaxed the old AC back to life." Her laugh carried a playful pull, one I couldn't ignore. So we ended up on the carpet, tangled in blankets, muffling laughs, doing our best not to touch. But trying was the key word. "Dash, are you always this warm?" I asked, the space between us shrinking to only a few inches. My heart pounded like it wanted out of my chest. "Dash, the AC's busted, genius," she muttered, tugging the blanket closer. I caught her eye in the dim glow, her lips twitching at the corner of a smile. "Dash, yeah, but it's working again now," I said, pretending to sound innocent. "Dash, it's even cool down here on the floor." "Dash, and you snore," she shot back, her voice slicing through the silence. "Dash, I do not," I argued, feigning outrage. "Dash, fine." She giggled. "Dash, then you purr. Like a cat, especially flat on your back." Her laughter was barely contained, and the darkness made me bolder. I turned toward her until we were almost sharing the same breath. Her hair brushed against my chin, and I breathed her in. The scent of her shampoo mixed with the warmth of the night. It wasn't innocent. It was a promise of something else. "Dash, if I drift closer by accident, don't push me away," I whispered. "Dash, if it's an accident," she whispered back, and before I could say another word, she shifted toward me. Her leg grazed mine, thigh against thigh. My breathing faltered, and we froze in the moment. And then, not laughter, not conversation, just the heat of proximity. A warmth that spoke louder than words. A blanket shared. A body beside mine that felt like it belonged there. I had no idea what morning would bring. Maybe she'd laugh it off. Maybe we'd both act like nothing ever happened. But as she settled half asleep against my chest, I didn't dare move. Her hand rested lightly on my stomach, her breath warm against my neck, and every nerve in my body shivered with the thrill of it. It was simple, human, maybe reckless, but it felt right, as if every scattered piece had finally found its place. I forced myself not to think about what came next, instead locking in every detail. The press of her thigh, the faint graze of a nail across my side, and that small, startling kiss on my collarbone before she drifted off, leaving my pulse racing. Those details were going to stay with me. I woke to the smell of coffee brewing and the soft rush of the shower in the distance. Sunlight leaked through the blinds, like the world itself was trying to shine a light on what we'd done. But I didn't care. Emily stood in the kitchen, her hair a mess, robe loosely tied, sipping coffee like it was medicine for bad decisions. "Morning, couch buddy," she said, sliding a mug toward me. Her eyes sparkled, and I couldn't stop myself from smiling back. That glance we shared, quiet, heavy with meaning, could have filled pages. Dad wandered in moments later, rubbing his eyes, hair sticking up, still half asleep. "Sleep all right, Jake?" he mumbled. "Yeah, not too bad," I said casually. Emily flicked her gaze toward me, a spark of mischief in her eyes, an inside joke no one else would ever get. That glance said more than words ever could. Actually," I added, throwing her a look of my own. The floor wasn't so bad after all." Well," Dad said with a yawn, scratching at his hair. Next time we'll patch up that mattress, or just get a new couch, or both." He shuffled off, muttering about cold showers and bills, leaving the two of us alone with the smell of coffee and a silence that felt completely different than before. That morning marked the beginning of something secret, something no one else could touch, and that made it all the sweeter.